Birds of Prey didn't exactly make that much money when it was released earlier this year in theaters. It topped out at about $200 million worldwide, which, even though the movie was relatively inexpensive to make, that's still not that much. So I think a sequel to Birds of Prey directly is unlikely. But, you never know. But anyways, two of the characters in that movie, Black Canary and the Huntress, I think they're worth revisiting with those actresses, Jurnee Smollett-Bell and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Both are major DC heroines. They've both been members of the Justice League and other teams. So I think that despite of Birds of Prey's underperformance, it would be nice if those two characters and actresses were to appear again elsewhere. And in this video, I list a couple of places where, if we do see them again, where I think we're most likely to see them. So let's get into it. Number one, maybe they could show up as supporting characters or cameos in a Batman movie. At this point, I guess a Batfleck movie. Since Ben Affleck's the Batman that's connected to Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, and her movie is the one they appeared in, Birds of Prey, which was really a Harley Quinn movie. So if Warner Brothers ever decides to do a Ben Affleck Batfleck movie or HBO Max streaming series, it would be pretty cool if Black Canary and the Huntress could show up, maybe as people to help Batman, right? There were rumors that Ben Affleck's Batman, the plot was going to be him trying to break out of Arkham Asylum or something, like he was working on a plot like that. So maybe he calls in for some backup, some help. And who comes to help him get out of Arkham Asylum and fight off all those supervillains? None other than Black Canary and Huntress. It could work. It's something that could happen in the comics. So why not do it in the movies? Or the HBO Max streaming show. DC fans would really get a kick out of seeing them showing up in one of his movies. But, that's a long shot. We don't even know if Ben Affleck's Batman's going to get a movie or a show. And if he does, the chances of him putting them in there, I don't know. It could be something that, AT&T and Warner Brothers would ask him to do. And Ben Affleck, if he wants to be a team player, he could say, sure. But, this is a theory and wish list. So these are things that are just popping up into my head. But now, on to number two. What about their own HBO Max series? Birds of Prey has been doing pretty well, I think, on video on demand, or at least solidly, which shows that the movie has been having a new life on the ancillary market. I doubt it's making a huge amount of money, but I think it's, competitive with other movies that are on video on demand right now during this global crisis we're in. So why not give Black Canary and Huntress their own streaming series on HBO Max? They could just call it, Huntress and Black Canary, or maybe a Birds of Prey streaming series starring Jurnee Smollett-Bell and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. HBO Max needs content. DC is Warner Brothers' most successful IP. So they need as many ideas for streaming shows as possible to entice people to subscribe to HBO Max. So I think they could be open to a Black Canary and Huntress streaming series. And I'm sure those actresses would love to be part of that. Number three, maybe to be a part of a Justice League project, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, or if there's a sequel to that, Justice League 2, a sequel movie or sequel streaming series. You might recall earlier in this video I said that both Black Canary and Huntress have been members of the Justice League in the comics at different times. So there is a precedent set. It wouldn't be like them having to change too much. It could be they would just be following the comics. It's already there in the source material. So putting those characters in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they could say, hey, don't be surprised. It's happened before. We're following the comics. Isn't that what you fans always say we should do with these movies and shows, follow the comics? We're doing that. Now, I think it's unlikely that they would show up. Well, part of me thinks it's unlikely they would show up because they weren't involved in the DCEU when Zack Snyder was filming his original Justice League movie way back. So I don't know if he would put them in there now. But, AT&T and Warner Brothers has given him all this extra money to film all those reshoots, right? So maybe at this point they could be like, hey, Zach, why don't you put Black Canary and Huntress in your movie somehow? Or your streaming series, the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League HBO Max streaming series. Plop them in there somewhere. It would certainly be great to see all these DC characters show up in his Justice League movie. We're already, I think, supposed to be getting Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern. Why not Black Canary and Huntress? The more DC heroes that show up, and villains possibly, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the more it will seem like a major big deal and more attractive to potential customers, potential HBO Max subscribers, right? It's a big event. Ooh, look at all these DC characters showing up to fight Darkseid. I can't miss this. That I think would be Warner Brothers' motivation if they did ask Zack Snyder to put Black Canary and Huntress in Justice League. Either this one coming up, or maybe a sequel if Zack Snyder's Justice League is successful and they want to follow it up. Number 4, maybe in a Gotham City Sirens movie. Now, I know that might sound perplexing because, Gotham City Sirens is about, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman. What the hell are Black Canary and Huntress doing in it? But, they could appear as a tease or a setup for a sequel to Gotham City Sirens. There were rumors that Warner Brothers was at one time considering a Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey movie. So, like at the end of Gotham City Sirens, maybe there's some end-credit scene or, scene where Black Canary and Huntress show up as crime fighters to try to apprehend or capture the Birds of Prey. To capture the Gotham City Sirens. Since Black Canary and Huntress are heroes, and, Poison Ivy is a villain, and Catwoman likes to steal things, to break into things, and Harley Quinn, walks on the wild side between, good and bad, there is a reason for Black Canary and Huntress to oppose those women and have them, fight together, or fight against each other in a Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey movie. But to set that up, you could have Huntress and Black Canary show up first in Gotham City Sirens. So there we have it. The 4 places I think it would make most sense and where we would most likely see Black Canary and Huntress show up next. Now, again, these are things, just my opinions. I don't know if we'll ever see Black Canary and Huntress again, played by Journey Smollett-Bell and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, because that movie, as I said, did underperform. But I think that the options I've mentioned are good ways to bring them back if Warner Brothers and DC ever wants to. And I think they should, because fans would like it. They'd be like, ooh, look, it's Black Canary and Huntress. They wouldn't be unhappy about it. And AT&T is all about, right now, making the fans happy, right? At least when it comes to agreeing to release the Snyder Cut. So, maybe they should consider these ideas. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.